Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into the dark truths behind some of your favorite myths. What they don't tell you might just shock you. We're talking about the stories that have been passed down for generations, the ones that kept you up at night as a kid. But what if I told you those stories, the ones that sent shivers down your spine, were just the tip of the iceberg? Get ready to go down the rabbit hole with me as we uncover the twisted, the terrifying, the real stories behind the myths. This is going to be intense, you guys. It's going to be... Okay, so we've all heard of Medusa, right? Snake hair, turns you to stone with a glance, total nightmare fuel. But what if I told you that the story we've been told, the one that scared the crap out of us since we were kids, is a total lie? See, Medusa wasn't always a monster. In some versions of the myth, she was actually a beautiful priestess, but then tragedy struck. Some say it was Poseidon, the god of the sea, who assaulted her in Athena's temple. Athena, being the vengeful goddess she was, didn't punish Poseidon, though. Nope, she took her rage out on Medusa, transforming her into the creature we all know and fear. Talk about messed up, right? And the whole turning people to stone thing. Some scholars believe that was a later addition to the story, a way to further demonize Medusa and erase her tragic past. It's about how society, even back then, would rather silence and demonize women who have been wronged than actually hold the powerful accountable. And that's the truly terrifying thing about Medusa's story. Now let's talk about something a little more modern, a little closer to home. I'm talking about the chupacabra, aka the goat sucker. You know the one, right? Spiky creature, glowing red eyes, sucks the blood out of livestock, freaky stuff. But what's the truth behind this bloodthirsty beast? Is it a real creature, some kind of genetic experiment gone wrong, or just a whole lot of hype? The sightings started in Puerto Rico back in the 90s, with farmers finding their animals completely drained of blood. And I'm talking drained like someone stuck a straw in them and sucked them dry. There were even eyewitness accounts, people claiming to have seen this creature, describing it as a hairless dog-like thing with spikes down its back. Some scientists believe the chupacabra is nothing more than a coyote or wild dog suffering from a severe case of mange. The hair loss, the spiky appearance, it all kind of adds up. But what about the blood draining? There's a scientific explanation for that too. There's this thing called exsanguination, where a predator bites into its prey in a specific way that causes massive blood loss. So is the chupacabra just a sick coyote? Maybe. But there are still a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of unexplained sightings. Okay, so the Pied Piper of Hamelin? It's a classic fairy tale, right? A creepy dude in a colourful outfit lures away all the rats with his magic flute, and when the townspeople refuse to pay him, he takes their children too. But what if I told you this story, this seemingly innocent children's tale, might be based on a real-life tragedy? See, Hamelin is a real town in Germany, and there's actually a record of a mass disappearance of children dating back to the 13th century. Spooky, right? Now, no one knows for sure what happened to those kids. Some say they were victims of a plague. Others believe they were lured away by a charismatic leader during the Children's Crusade. Some historians believe the Pied Piper was a real person, maybe a rat catcher, or even a symbol for a natural disaster or social upheaval. The story of the Pied Piper might be a metaphor for the loss of innocence, the dangers of greed, or even the Black Death that ravaged Europe around the same time. It's like this dark, unsettling tale that reflects the very real fears and anxieties of the time. And that's what makes it so fascinating. It's a story that's been told and retold for centuries, each generation adding their own spin, their own interpretation. All right, let's talk mummies. Specifically, the whole mummy's curse thing. You know, the drill ancient tomb gets opened, someone messes with the mummy, boom, they're struck dead by a mysterious illness or a freak accident. But is there any truth to it, or is it all just Hollywood sensationalism? The most famous example is probably the curse of King Tut's tomb. When Howard Carter opened the tomb back in the 1920s, people went wild. It was like the biggest archaeological discovery ever. But then people started dropping like flies. A few weeks after the tomb's opening, Lord Carnarvon, the guy who funded the whole expedition, died from an infected mosquito bite. Then other members of the team started dying under mysterious circumstances. Scientists have debunked this whole curse thing, saying there's no scientific evidence to support it. They say The deaths were probably caused by natural causes, like infections or pre-existing conditions, but still there's something about the idea of a mummy's curse that just sends chills down your spine. Okay guys, we've reached the final chapter of our dark journey and we're ending with a classic Bloody Mary. We all know the story, right? You go into a dark bathroom, light a candle, say her name 3 times in the mirror, and bam! Bloody Mary appears. But who is Bloody Mary and what does she want? There are so many different versions of the legend, each one creepier than the last. Some say she's the ghost of a woman who died in childbirth. Others say she's a witch who was burned at the stake. But what if I told you Bloody Mary isn't just one entity, but a reflection of our own deepest fears? The ritual itself is all about facing your reflection in the darkness, confronting the unknown, and what appears in the mirror. Our own fears and anxieties personified in the form of a vengeful spirit. It's a reminder that the scariest monsters are often the ones we create ourselves. Well, there you have it, guys. The dark truths behind some of your favorite myths. Did any of them surprise you? Which one freaked you out the most? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the stories you thought you knew. See you next.